Wow, that's getting really exciting. It's getting quite technical, isn't it?
I'm just going to get my cup of tea.
Yep. Oh, definitely. You can't do any work until you've got a cup of tea.
It's here with me.
Oh.
Hold on, done. Hang on. Oh, that might be a bit better. Yeah. So
that looks very serious.
I've just got somewhere to lean this.
Yeah, no, that's all cool.
Yeah. Well, I have been watching you every week.
Oh, cool. How's it been from the viewing point?
I love it. Sometimes I watch it twice, or I'll skip back. And you know what I've been enjoying? Walking my dog, and I've had you both in here.
Yeah.
And I find that to do things at the house, and I can grasp it a little bit more, and I've loved it. So I was like, I'm here tonight, so truly I'm here.
That's exciting. That's exciting. That's cool. It's cool to hear that. That's what it's like, eh? And I think there's
Go on.
I think there's a few of us that are getting even when we go back and watch it, we pick up bits and pieces and relook at things from a whole different perspective than we did in that moment. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
It's awesome. And just the child, with Patty listening, even though I don't see you face to face, I get to know more about. I know Ali, but then I get to know Gabriel and the love that you have for your little boy, which is just, I get it. But just what he teaches you. Because that's something like, there was lots that you were talking about, and it's, you remember it, but now it's gone.
Yep.
And now I've lost, hang on, here we go. Of what we learn from our children, it's pretty amazing, and how our energy shift and what they're showing us. In the last month, I've learned a lot about that, and how my energy plays a part in my children's energy as much as theirs is also playing in my life.
Yeah. Awesome.
And you've got a new job, and you're at the job, your new job, old job, but it's now you've been there a while, and that's still going really, really well.
I love it. I feel like I'm working with people that are full of sunlight and sunshine. I just can't explain it. And there's only one person there that challenges me, but I know now that it is me. So instead of in my other jobs, and this is where this has helped me, I could feel that festering again, that, oh my God, you're getting on my nerves. But you know what's been amazing? I haven't been the one to say anything. Everybody else around me is like, my God, how do you work with this person?
The Buddha amongst the chaos. I love it.
Yeah, this person is like, the black sheep of it. And I'm like, you know what? I just accept this person for who he is, because there's only really one or two males in there. But he does teach me a lot about myself. A lot of my old self, which is funny. And so every time I start to feel that reaction, it's almost like I put what I've watched with you, it comes straight to me. Okay, what if you're reacting to it? Then it's not about person, it's about myself. And it's amazing. A lot of it is to do with confidence and all that. But now that I feel like I've become back to my silly self again, so I'm not taking life as serious as what I did.
Yeah.
And now when I see life as a playground, it's more fun now, instead of this, oh God, it's so serious. Oh my God, I feel so the victim. All that stuff has shifted, and I feel that that's why I've attracted just so much more peace into my life. Happiness and just me being silly again, like really silly me. And yeah.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. And it's cool that you can go to work and have every element around you and be at peace with that. That's kind of, that I think that's the hugest thing. If you can start, and if you're doing that at work and you're doing it in the family and you're doing it every day, then it makes life a whole different experience.
Yeah, and you feel lighter and just happier. Like no matter what comes your way, you just, it's good.
Yep. It is just oh, awesome.
And I bought that book, The Secret Language of Your Body. I ordered it.
Yep.
The one that you recommended, the new version, and I've only just started it, but I feel very connected to it, so I'm gonna
awesome.
And so what's been happening in both your weeks?
Mine's been pretty good. We went to Canberra. What's your big good story anyway? So we kind of, it was really interesting. In summary, I looked at going there, going to the flight, and I packed probably not 10 minutes before sleeping sort of scenario, chucked it in a bag, and then we're up at 4 to go and catch because we like that early drive-in because it's so quiet and it's, and then you're just there to fly out at 7. So I packed preparing for Canberra cold. So everything I had, I took 2 thick jerseys, and I thought, cool. Two thick jumpers or jerseys, and I was like, okay, I'll just chuck my t-shirt and thermals on underneath, and I'll be warm. And then I'll have my jacket, and I have just a pair of boots. And so I didn't take a hell of a lot, and got there, and it was very warm. and it's close, and I was like, and of course we're there for Tyler, and we're to have his experience and supporting him, yet knowing where my passion was lying with the netball coming on that weekend, and just knowing where I would prefer and what I wanted to be doing. He would rather do Parliament, and I would think like, fuck that sort of shit. And so the weather played out in reflection to my whole attitude, to the whole scenario, which is all perfect. And totally aware. I mean, I must have been the moaning old bitch from hell for a while, but the reality was that even though you know that, you're still playing it and you're aware of it. That's what's so funny. And we were that buggered because I think we clocked us a huge amount of Ks walking, but it was really some really synchronized timing. So you think about our flight to Canberra was booked whenever, because this was the open weekend for uni. But of course, I'm not into Parliament. I don't understand anything about politics at all, really. Whereas Tyler totally passionate about it. And we happened to be there that particular weekend, and we happened to walk up to Parliament as they were protesting, as they were doing whatever. And then we kind of ticked that box for Tyler, and then we decided to walk over to the gallery, which we had to pass this building. And I said, I want to take a picture of this building. It's quite the architecture, and there's just something about it. And so I took a picture of it, and it was the Treasury building, go figure. And so then and then we went, by that time I'm really spitting at the bit because I'm getting pretty exhausted now, and I'm like and the boys are looking at me thinking she needs fluid and she needs fueling and she needs a rest. Amongst a lot of attitude change by choice, but they couldn't do that. So I then played on, and we actually went and went to a cafe, and while we were there was a couple in front of us watching the politics, and the new Prime Minister had been announced, and he was actually from the Treasury. So we'd actually been there at that particular moment, been to the Treasury, and then so there was just some really weird alley synchronicity timing stuff. And look, honestly, I don't really care or anything for it, but there was just some funnies like, oh, that's really interesting, we happen to be here at this particular moment. And then, of course, my walk back was pleasurable because I'd been fueled and fed, and by this stage I've stripped off my thick hot jerseys and walking around feeling so dressed up, not thinking, oh my God, I wish I'd put my trackies and sand shoes on. And so I was, the uncomfortableness that was playing out was obviously something going on as well within me. And I was looking at that, it was interesting. Then Sunday we got up and had a day, and that was pretty erratic, as in flow for me. Yeah, at the end of the day, loved. I think it's a nice place. Couldn't live there. Energy-wise, there was just something with me that reflected in that area.
And did you work out what that was? Have you come to that?
I think the whole theory about it is doing something for your children and not for you.
Okay.
And that was my conflicting energy. And which I totally, and I was aware of, and my choice was to be there for this moment and experience that. The funny thing is that I've done none of the pre-uni stuff with the other kids. They've all sorted out as well, but of course we're in a different country, different experience, and it was an opportunity to go somewhere I hadn't been, so it was kind of, let's do this. Didn't know the netball finals were on, otherwise I would have gone to Perth. But anyway, that's the contrast and the conflict that played out. So I was totally aware the whole weekend that was the two things playing out, where I love to be, but I choose to be here.
Yeah.
So I still had amazing times, and I picked up some trackies that actually fitted short-legged people, and they're quite funky, that I had to slouch around in, and I've been looking for ages all over the place. So, there's lots of bonuses, and actually I think it's quite a nice little place. And we had to go to the uni to drop off Tyler's charger, so I ticked that box that I at least saw one of my children's uni open days. I actually stood at the entrance and waited for him, gave him his thing, and then buggered off. But no, he's very happy, and it's good to see him happy in what he's done. Murray just tolerated my erraticness, and he played the perfect husband, and we'll go shopping, and he hates, he's not a shopper, and so he's one of those men that would sit outside. Or if he does come in, it's highly you look good in this lingerie, or make some big, so it's a good scene. So it's either one or the other, it's just not so, and that's all cool. But no, we reflective wise, it was just the weekend played back to me. But here's the funny thing is as soon as we headed to the airport early, thinking that we could find a TV. They had no TVs. So, because I'm thinking I'll watch a little bit of netball before I fly out. And as soon as we get our tickets, she says, there's an hour delay. And I kind of went, okay, this is good, because now that gives me that extra hour to watch the netball, because otherwise I would have been flying. And so, but then there was no TV. So it's like, and I'm like, oh shit. Okay, and then Tyler goes, so he played around with his phone and got something we could watch online. So we watched it online. I got to see the full game. Got to see them win, and that was really cool. So I got to see what I wanted to, at the expense of everyone having a held up flight. But it's twice delays have helped us have fun. But the funny thing is both times, here's an interesting scenario too. Both times we've traveled 3 different places in the last couple of months, and Sunshine Coast we were delayed, Canberra we were delayed, but Gold Coast flowed in and out, and I said how great I felt there. And so and Murray said to me, it's like they just don't want us. It's like they just don't want us to go back to Melbourne, is it? Like that whole thing. And we got back to Melbourne. Of course, it was raining, and we'd had this amazing weekend. And so I was like, that's really interesting. And it's really funny. I actually drove through. He's driving, but I was observing the feeling about connection to the city and stuff, and it was just like, I'm actually ready to go now. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of things, and make a weekend out of it as you want to do. There's lots of good things, and Canberra's a beautiful place, and Tyler's interesting scenario. Isn't it interesting? I lived in all the places I've lived in. I've lived near water.
Yeah.
So at first we thought it might be, because he likes the whole city life and stuff, but he's just, I think yeah, he got that. He's changed his course already. Let's wait till February and see what he actually ends up doing. But, he's excited. It's cool to see him excited. And it's also good, though, he'll be able to tell us bits and pieces about the place, and we'll be able to identify where what he's doing, where he is, and what's going on. So it was a really valuable weekend, even though, like I said, the only thing, the contrast in the weather was the contrast in my choice in being.
So you didn't really want to, or you were just because it was something you had to do, or did you want to do it? Like,
I had no attachment to the outcome. Look, honestly, a preference would be going to or being here to watch the netball. But I have this just okayness. It doesn't matter what the outcome is. It's just experiencing it for what it is. And so there was good in bits and pieces, but the understanding for as a mother doing the thing for their child compared to doing what mum would prefer to be doing, that's a very old energy in mine. So that was just still in there, just playing itself out through the experiences, but I was still having great experiences along the way. Mm-hmm. And I was aware of my, I'm fucking overwalking this. How far we got to go? And Charlie goes, it's just up here. That's what you said half an hour ago. And again, great walking, a lot of walking. So it was a bit reflective, contrast reflective of me. Yet still a very good experience. And in the same token, I was ready to come home after one day.
Was enough.
But I had bonsai coffees, 3 different coffees, one preferred place, but they're all nice coffees. So, it was really good. And we had some beautiful, Murray booked us some lovely accommodation, and we just, it was really nice. Oh, yeah, it was just, I felt for the boys because I played my part well. But again, I can tick that one off of, no, I don't want to live there. I didn't feel connected to living there, but there's some beautiful, it's really fun. I went to the art gallery and we skimmed around, and there's some cool little bits in there, but I actually enjoyed the streets, and I just love art in the streets. I just love the sculptures and I don't know, there's just something, something so different than being stuck in a gallery. Yeah.
You took photos of some cool little street sculptures.
Lots of sculptures, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and they had so that was my reflection on self on the weekend. Yeah.
I was thinking about your art, Ellie, and how you're starting to do some amazing reflective work. And I was thinking about the store where I'm working and how they have the gallery out the back near the veranda.
Yeah.
Thinking of speaking to them about work.
Yeah.
And so that was on my mind to talk about that with you tonight, or whenever I was going to see you, and then you've said it.
Yeah. No, actually, it's funny because I've kind of seen it there in its own way, and it's in the playground, because obviously I love the store and the setup and the whole energy space. And again, trusting whether that's meant to be or not, it is what it is. All the work that I'm actually sharing is all old work. It's just I'm now, I don't know, as you would have probably picked up in some of the conversations, it's now ready to actually find its space and place. And it's interesting revisiting them because of the information that they're sharing with us. And so the reflective work. So again, I think in reflective to what we're talking about, life is a reflection of us. As you're transitioning through something in yourself, it comes out through the canvas.
Yeah. So how far are we going back?
Since I've been here, so the last 6 years. All the paintings, apart from one, I've got one Kiwi one with me, but apart from, all the ones here are 6 years old.
Yeah.
So
but
I haven't,
cards and everything. I see them as in gift cards, like lots of, so I can see people giving them, it's. Book. I still haven't picked up the book for a while, but I feel like I'm ready to pick up your book again, and I've got my cards over there, and Yeah, and every now and then one will drop out. I'm like, hello, that's the one. And I remember that happened to you, Gabrielle. Patty chose one or something. So yeah. These things that, yeah, interesting with your artwork.
Yeah. I think it's also a transitional shift. So if we're talking about reading life in chat tonight, we're talking about things come and it's not being attached to the outcome, and it's just allowing it to process itself, and it coming to, like for me at the moment, is a knowing that we're not going to be in Melbourne forever and ever and ever.
Yeah,
it's the transitional space that we're in. We're ready to, obviously we feel Queensland and we do feel Gold Coast, and we're just winging it really. But it's come back, and now and as things start, the attention changes and you focus. So like at the end of the day, Murray's focus now is he's got Gold Coast on his Instagram, so information comes up about that and he'll show us. So he's playing in that area already. Do you know what I mean? So he's shifting us into that, which I haven't, like I said, I haven't seen him play like that since we've been in New Zealand when we were playing the big stage, really, if you want to look at life experiences. So it's kind of fun to have him on board to see that perspective, and it's seeing him, the energy vibe and everything change within him and how he's sharing and stuff. And yeah, that's exciting, and recognizing what feels good and what doesn't feel good. Again, feeling your body when your body comes back, and we were talking about whether living in an area comes to heal your body. That would be an interesting transition in itself for both of us to be a lot warmer, because as soon as we come back to Melbourne, it all tenses up. And look, that's all make believe and do whatever you want, because you can make that story. Yes, and feeling it and knowing it, is it an information centre telling us something where we could, what resonates more with us? No, it's a real interesting stage. But yeah, my art's definitely ready to walk out the door. It'd be interesting to see if I actually pick up any paintbrushes or kitchen skewers or whatever else I throw at the painting board, and see if anything eventuates before I leave. I don't know, I just feel things are moving a bit quicker, even coming back, and just in the, just topics of conversation and stuff, even with Gabrielle, she was beautiful. She dropped off a meal in the fridge for me, so it was really exciting to come back to someone's been in our house.
Yeah, because you're moving out.
and she'd picked up some wood, which was the last of the stuff blocking, if you want to look at it as a symbology, life talking and reflecting.
That was interesting.
So she's taken the last few bits of the wood out there, and so I feel the gateway's really clear, and I feel that Murray's talking to his clients all about the shift and changes and stuff. So at the end of the day, it's just knowing it and allowing it. And then I suppose because I liked, I can actually control this if I wanted to. Yet it's the playful part of life that you can experience it in the mystery and have it unfold with you. And because you're so not constructed to a formula of outcome, you kind of just swing and hit. It's kind of, you just, the contrast is not so scary because you just swing with it. You know what I mean? It's just we'll try this. And which is that scenic route, which we were talking about, having that fun with the scenic route instead of having that direct path. And so I think that's it.
Anymore. It's like, I don't know. I think it's been good for me, like, to sit back and watch these. And as I said, Gabrielle, her laughter always, it's like a light you up thing, and her little cupology. I love all that. And then, I don't idolize people. I'm not like that, but I tell everyone about Ali, and Ali said this. And you should
actually, you say it, but it's okay.
Ali, keep talking. You're the person who pops into my head when
the stalker. Yeah.
Am I the stalker? I don't know. Who knows? But not.
It doesn't matter.
You know what? It's like, I don't know. It's like Ellie's brain going, think about it. you actually don't think about it. Let it be. And so when even my fam, like, we're just so happy at the moment. Everything's just together. I feel like it's together. We're all just got it together in a way. And it's nice because I don't feel any fear anymore. There's little bits that come, it tries to creep in. And it's funny, like today I was cleaning the house, had music, I went for a walk, and I got so active and I just had all this energy. And then there was a moment where I was cooking and I started to have I was thinking, I had a sad thought about my son. Because I'm used to that, putting that bit of a sad, thinking of the past a little bit. But then I just went, it's past. You don't need to go there. You don't need to go there anymore. And I snapped out of it and just went back to what I was doing. And, yeah, cooked a really nice dinner and, yeah. But just, yeah.
I think I liked how you said about the family togetherness, and honestly, that's your reflection now playing out in the family arena. The more you've come back to yourself, the more together you are with yourself. Now they can reflect that into your arena, So,
okay.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, because they can't show you it any other way. At least they can only show it the way you see it.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I like how I'm like, and Nellie's like,
No, we're all onto it.
What was that? I missed that comment.
No, Goop was the one laughing. I'm going, yeah. No,
and I'm going, like we're all doing. Goop's laughing. And I'm like,
No, I was laughing because I could so see how I do that, or how I experience that. It resonated. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, look, at the end of the day, while I chose on the weekend to be in my, disoriented space, if you want to call it, even though it was perfect, and we'll go into a bit more of that too. I'll write that with you. The boys were reflecting me well, and I could find everything wrong with them because I had everything wrong within me. So, and they were playing it back to me. Do you know what I mean? So, the disoriented space is really interesting. So, obviously, I had new glasses, and the multifocal. So, I'm trying to get obviously having an adjustment to a new perspective in life, and so I was putting those on and. I went in the Thursday and had them slightly adjusted, and they changed the pads to silicone and stuff, and I had titanium on. And anyway, it shifted the vision a bit, and I thought, oh, this is interesting. So, maybe I didn't think too much about it. But by the time we flew out and I arrived in Canberra, so you add the heat and you add the way I was feeling. You add the spaciness to my head. So I'm sitting there going, like, everything's like fucking moving, and it's all like, and I'm just like, so I'm in another friggin' planet and going off my nutter, and not too bad, but I was just moaning a hell of a lot. So Saturday afternoon, I attracted Specsavers there. So I walked in there and look, there was a room full of people, and this lady just moved out of the way, and this guy just came towards me, and he said, can I help you? And I went, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, oh, just take a seat. And then this guy within moments was with me, and they were like jam-packed full. And he says, oh yes, when you walked in, I saw they were sitting too tight and too high. And I was going, okay. So he did scrunch them, did something, and I went, holy fuck. Like, I was just like, I'm back. Like, seriously, dude, I'm back. And so that was beautiful. It was, I think for me, though, it was the reflection of what I was like, So it's, what was even more funny is like the energy I was feeling was so erratic, and we were heading to Parliament, which Parliament, imagine what they were playing out, because they were obviously having, if you don't know, those that are watching, Australia have obviously got a new Prime Minister and stuff, and so they're going through the revamp. And so imagine you're walking into an energy area that's already erratic. And so I'm sitting there going, I'm erratic all over the place. and I'm in an area that's erratic all over the place. So, you know, whether you want to make a story of it or not, it is what it is. But it was all perfect in my world, as much as Tyler was going, it's only up here, and God, you're moaning. And
you just said just then, that you were feeling erratic. So then you walked into a place that was erratic.
Yeah. Well, look, honestly, was I picking? You could do it either way, depending on how you want to read life. Was the energy erratic, and I was at a reflection. I was picking up on the erratic energy, you know, coming into Canberra. You know the whole thing at this point. So if you're looking at external and not internal, external playground. So there's a contrast here. If you're in the perfect place of the Buddha or the piece, you know, like that place, nothing should really affect you because you are that, and it affects everything. The reality is there's also this the sensitive side if you want to play that playground. So can you feel this energy playing, and now are you aware and it's playing in your energy field? Is it yours or is it theirs? Separation of self, it's all one. But at the end of the day, it's another playground. And then there's my playground, that whatever's going on with me was playing out through this experience. How better. Like I said, the first thing I owned was not that I felt gritty or wanted to be there, because I've actually come, I don't know, and like I said, I don't know if it's a healthy thing or a non-healthy thing, but I've come so everything's just okay. You just switch it. It really doesn't matter. And at the end of the day, it didn't matter, because I still got to see the full game. Even if it was on an airport, whatever, I still got to have my stuff I enjoy as much as Tyler, where I was there playing mum, which is whether I've grown out of that or whether that's an old thing or whatever, it's still part of me. It's still part of my experience. And it was nice to be.
If you weren't feeling erratic, would you see it in a different way? Or was it?
Yeah. If I was like if you're in that whole peaceful place with self and you walk into an area and then nothing should affect you in the whole scheme of things. Like seriously, if you're the whole, we'll use the word enlightened, whatever enlightened is, but if you are the whole being and you are present, and there can be an utter lot of chaos, and you can be totally calm and non-affective and non-reactive, non-whatever, because you're just okay. The reality was I was going through a lot of whatever that was at that particular moment. It's not right or wrong, and it's not beating yourself up. It's awareness. Now, when we start blaming another, then we're just totally not owning it. And do I do that? Yes, of course you do. I can get a bit pissed off and shitty and whatever. It's a natural state. But the reality is owning that and being aware of that. And like, if I don't think I'm more about this person here right now is more about, yes, I'm pissed off. Yes, I'm shitty. Yes, I'm hot. Yes, I don't really do Parliament. It's a load of shit to me because I'm really not interested in it. You know, I'm aware, and the whole thing was I had a choice. I could go, and they said you can go home, you can catch a taxi, you can do all these things. So there was multitudes of options, and I said no, I'm here and I'd like to do it, but it's not my thing. But I know I'll get the joy out of seeing Tyler enjoy it, and it was worth that moment.
Yeah.
So it's a whole other thing about choices, and then owning your choice, but not blaming every single dog. And the heat of the. I laughed. I was going, yeah. And so I was saying, I'll dump it on Murray, shall I? Like, oh yeah. I was like, oh mate, she told me it was going to be freezing cold, and I packed 2 jerseys, and and I listened to you, of course. Lesson number 1 in life is never listen to anyone and make conscious awareness and decisions within self. But I totally trusted in his, which is funny, because here's my contrast. He's so bloody because he's with weather and he looks up weather and blah, 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 and is all anal about weather, and I'm all about it is what it is, and just trust. If you feel like going, do it. If you don't, And so here and now I'm playing in the, oh, well, I'll listen to him because he's read the weather. So it all played perfectly, and I was like, oh, well, I'll get a new wardrobe by you, but no, I just bought a new pair of trackies. But at the end of the day, he got dumped on a few times. Okay, he goes, okay. But he also knows I'll own it eventually. Keeping it human, and how long you want to play in it. Like I said, the walk up there was torture, but the walk back I enjoyed totally. And I was again, because there was scenery, there was art, there was the water, there was the bridge you walked over. The walk back's obviously always quicker, and you tend to go a different way, which you're thinking. So the whole thing was more for me. So Tyler was more about the whinging on the way back, because he'd got the adventure and everything. Once he got there, oh shit, now I've got to walk back. Where I'm like, oh fuck, I've got to go to Parliament. And then, I've had some lunch. I've been to the toilet. I'm feeling okay. Yeah, I've got the probably what you see me hanging out of my shirt, and I'm looking at how I'm dressed, thinking, what the fuck? Oh, who gives? And because at the beginning it was, I don't want to take my jacket off and be because I've got all my shit clothes. Because I actually thought I'll kind of I feel nicely dressed, and I've got my boots on, and we're only going for a casual walk. And of course it was like, I don't know, I think we covered like some ridiculous figure. What was it, 20,000 odd steps or something? I don't know, because we got the counter out. And I was like, I don't even do that. I don't do fuck all steps. So I was like, but maybe taken to the point of, and again, add the spaciness of my head. So the funny thing is, we went into the art gallery and we put on these visual goggles, and they were quite disorientated, and they're like dropping off in the psychedelic and quite trippy. And I was thinking, fuck, I feel so much better in these goggles than I do walking. And I got out of there going to Murray, man, I felt safer on my feet in that than I do with my glasses. Like, seriously. Yeah. So once I sorted that out, but again, attracting that into my experience was something about that.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And make it a big story, a little story. You can search it as much as you want. And I think maybe even this is what tonight's about. It's just okay not to know.
Mm-hmm.
And just acknowledge what you do know and let it go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And be okay with it. Because the core of it, I've given it a few little, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this. At the end of the day, it's totally irrelevant. I did have a good time, and I did mow my ass off. And do I want to live there? No. The airport is very small. Options are pretty minimal, and they didn't have a TV to watch the netball, but I still got to watch it anyway. So there was no highs or lows. Again, it was just an enjoyment. The funny thing is, Murray took stuff to go to the casino, and I looked at him and go, because we're right next door to it. Oh, yeah. God, I'd have to go and buy clothes, because I really didn't bring anything to wear. I had my boots and some old cut-off jean things and a big thick jersey. That's like a issue. And it wouldn't have mattered, but at the end of the day, oh, bless you again. At the end of the day, it wouldn't have mattered, because I could have gone and bought something. There's always a solution to something. It's just how big a story you want to make it. The funny thing is, we were both exhausted by the time we'd walked fucking however, half a marathon over the weekend. Got to the bedroom and said, should we order tea in? Because we're all like, so yeah, and like, it's just, yeah. I mean, I saw a bit of old shit come up in me, and the critical shit and the self-judgment shit, and Tyler goes, well, that's interesting. So you do, it's allowing it to be present. And yes, if you want to play in it, play in it. But I am not denying it. And that's what I mean about everything. People think you get on this high horse and you live up there all the time. And I think that was the big thing about living in every area, but I played there in and out all weekend.
Yeah.
I had goods, I had bads, I had goods, I had bads, and the boys were going, whoo, what's coming now? But Tyler attracted, he couldn't have asked for anything better. He got exactly what he wanted. Murray observed, he just wanted to find out and show him all these things, and because it really showed me where I was with things, though. So, and reflect as a parent, he'd still like to, this is here and this is here, like you've got a IGA or you can shop here, like and we're accommodation, like Murray's very, formulated and stuff, and I'm like, really even think of that shit? Like, I'm like, he's old enough, he'll sort it out once he gets here. Yeah, he's travelled the world, for God's sake. You know what I mean? So I was very aware of how the functionality of who we are, even as a mother and father, on total different fields of organisation. And I mean, he was great. He got up and walked with Tyler the first day to uni, A, because I was too knackered and I couldn't be bothered getting out of bed because they get up earlier, and B, that he would have gone in for a walk anyway. So he knew the way, which happened to be perfect because we had to go back and take the charger, which, all worked out. So I just, that maternal role and how we get, I don't know, what we think we need to be doing for them, but we don't actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I've blabbled on about probably not a lot, but I think the main message I get is it's okay to experience everything and not deny it. I'm not sitting here this week going, oh yeah, I had a great time. The thing is I did have a good time.
Yeah.
And I still,
exactly what you wanted to do.
yeah, I still got to watch my netball, and the boys were more than overcompensating. Like Tyler pulled it up on his phone. Nah, it's okay. He was happy reading all his uni stuff and what he wanted to do and reflect over that. And we were just sitting in the airport, jumping up and down and slapping out each other on the back and going, yes, yes, yes. And yeah, no, it was really, really cool. So
Tyler that works at the bakery, and now he's
he's going in February next year.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, he said I think you've seen him there.
Yeah, I said hello to him.
Yeah.
So what's being at uni?
He's, I don't know, honestly, international studies of some sort. I think it's now international security studies or something, and he's doing Pacific Island studies, something, on a double degree of something, which is really funny because he started off doing language and something else. That was his intention. So his gap year has now come into play of creating different, he's attracted different things to him that have ticked his box. So I think it's been good for him the year, and then and I definitely think it was good for him to going to Canberra to have a look and get a feel, because now he's going, I won't need fully serviced because I can actually go down, it's not far from uni, to get food, and so he can self-cater because he's a bit fussy. And I mean, put it this way, we're in a lovely hotel thing staying, and we did breakfast there, and so I'm doing all the stuff that I have a hash brown because I don't have hash browns, and all this, try all this, you're just having a blast. Murray's having, and I'm having a judgment call on what he's eating, so it's quite interesting. And then and Tyler's sitting at the juicing machine, celery, orange, and I'm sitting there going, and he says to me, Mum, would you like me to make you a juice? And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. So yeah, they're, well, I think we get paranoid over nothing really, but it's only because we care. Yeah. So how about your son and adventures in the last month that you've do you want to do a quick skim and reflection on family?
Yeah, I will. This is quite phenomenal. Phenomenal. Okay, so as you know, I'll quickly, how do I go? Okay. When Kyle, there's a lot more to the story. When Kyle has a frustration, energy, he gets in head injury, always has. There's something, when he was a little boy, he was 11 months old, I think you knew this, his dad did something to him. He was in hospital with a fractured skull at the Dandenong Hospital in the children's ward. Wow. Fast forward, 18, I always thought I was going to lose Kyle at 18. Didn't know how. Did lose him to him. You wanted to get to know who his father was.
Yeah.
He certainly did get to see who his father was and decided it's not for him anymore. But there was a lot of frustration with him and his father at this point when he was playing football. He had a few concussions and he got broken ribs. And I said, I just sensed there was going to be a big one. Something bigger was going to come up. And I knew it. I could feel it. I even knew it before the phone call came. And there he was at the Dandenong Hospital. He was taken to Dandenong Hospital with a fractured jaw. Lost 3 teeth. It was pretty nasty.
Yeah.
And at first I went into that, oh my God, I'm not there. But then I kind of pulled back and went, okay, he's safe. It's okay. Got to the hospital a little bit later, and guess what ward he was in? Exactly the same children's ward, because he was 19. And me, my sister and I are walking down, and Melanie's like, oh my God. But 3 weeks before that, her son, Bodhi, who's 18, he lost his biological dad, which he never knew. But all these years ago, 18 years ago, Bodhi was born, and so I was there helping Bodhi. But then Kyle took over Bodhi's, he was born, and then Kyle's in the hospital with the fracture. And then once again, Bodhi had lost his dad. It was all about Bodhi and his stuff. But then along comes Kyle. Back there we are again.
Hang on, it's my story.
The same, we saw it all. And I'm like, Melanie, my sister's like, oh my God. And I'm like, no. And so when Kyle went into surgery, it all just went boom, and it hit me. And I just went, and I watched him go off like I did all those years ago for them to look after him. And I just sat on the steps with my sister bawling. I just cried and cried. And I said, here we are, Melanie, in exactly the same position, except we have the supports of not the fathers of our children. We have the support, the most amazing support with our husbands that aren't these boys' fathers. It was amazing that we were at a same but different. We were in a more supportive role, and we both knew that it was going to be okay. And I just had this sense of, my God, my boy is going to know. He had to see himself in his father's eyes, and there was aggression there, and there was all that stuff. And now we've found him accommodation. He's 5 minutes from work. He's learning how to cook. He's doing things for himself. It's quite amazing. And he doesn't want to see his father. He's decided that he can't do that for a while. But it was he made that, it's like that decision had to come. So as you said, it all literally came to a head in a really amazing way. So that's as quick as I could say it. But yeah. So instead of feeling, oh my poor boy,
so what did you, in reflection and just as a story, it felt, so I'm finding it interesting because there's two paths to this, like, because I'm scribbling while I'm here and I've got 2 arrows, so it's kind of like, yeah, okay. But I got a feeling with the your sister connection. And there's also, so then you've got both your sons, and then you've got, there's a double up and play out. Do you know what I mean? And then you've got obviously your son claiming it's hang on, what about me story? So obviously gaining the more attention. Just as a curious thing, in your as you grew up in a family, in reflection, who would have been the more I can't even think of the word.
I can already answer it before you even ask the question.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, go on.
No, please do, because that would be good.
Who was the one who got more attention? Who was the one that always jumped in Is that what you were going to say? Out of
Yeah,
the
well,
family?
yeah, well, which one was, yeah, that would match your
Hey.
son. You, yeah. So what I'm saying is, from a family environment, how it ripples through the energy lines until it's come to a understanding and a shift and a transitional shift, and you've witnessed the opportunity of shift.
Mm. Mm.
So it was already established in the energy with your sister playing out early on,
Mm-hmm.
and your sons then played it through their energy reflection.
Mm-hmm.
And then now they've brought it, both of you, and you're both witnesses, like you're witnessing it all over again, but from a different perspective now. You're looking through different eyes instead of eyes of, whatever age you were back then. You're now looking with the wisdom eyes of understanding life, which is that's the keyhole, the door that opens and that allows the shift. So the boys were actually helping move the energy through. The partners played their roles perfectly in reflection to that. The ex-partners.
Mm-hmm.
So they've done their role because it had to service this whole experience. I love it. I love it.
You were saying that.
Yep.
As you were saying that, it just my connection was unstable. Just it came up then, so I didn't actually hear.
Okay.
Any.
Okay. Well, quickly reflect it if you can get it, and if not, you can revisit it tomorrow and then come back to me. So what I'm saying is, you and your sister, and then you had an energy vibe playing out when you were young.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The energy's carried forward into your sons.
Mm-hmm.
And then your sons have played it out. But the thing is, what I'm getting is it's come to a point now in reflection from the wisdom that you and your sister hold to look at it, to shift it out. It's no longer necessary to play.
Okay. Or do you think I was just it's funny, as I was looking at the keyboard without even thinking of it, when you look at the keyboard and you stare, it's got THN, THINK, think. And at the very moment, I just looked at it and went, okay. And what came up for me just then was I have a middle sister, and she was always very left out, always did the wrong thing, I was the crazy one, always out there partying. And my younger one, who's the one that I'm really close with, I would be like a mother to her, but would always be,
Your middle sister, though, is actually, did you say, I'm feeling totally removed out of this whole scenario. The scenario on the energy space is actually more to do with the sister-son play out.
Okay, yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Likewise, the men that fathered the children were at significant points in helping this come to a head to clean it out. That's just a storyline. Take it and play with it. But the reality is because there's such a transitional change and you were witnessing it from where you're at now, had this happened, previously, like 2 years ago or whatever, your reactive space would have been more dominantly in a different space and it wouldn't have seen it so clearly. So that's what
I 100% agree, because when it all happened, my instant was, and then I thought, it's no, I don't need to be like this. Just accept it for what it is, and it's okay. But I felt stronger. I felt like this time round, when all that happened, that's when I feel like I lost a lot of my self-esteem. Yeah,
empowered.
Yeah, 100%. And then I felt like I can get through this. I've got the support and the strength around me, whereas back then I didn't. I had to just rely on myself pretty much. And my sister was going through her stuff, trying to leave her abusive relationship. So, yeah, it was kind of, it was huge, but it was a lot of healing because my sister went through so much healing. She cried more than what she ever has when her ex-partner passed away, and that was, from drugs and alcohol abuse at the age of 40. But, yeah, so she was doing all this healing, and I'm like, wow. And she's like, this is really weird. I feel like I'm going back to heal it. It's like I've healed all the stuff I've pushed aside. And then when this happened to my son, it was like, she's like, what are the chances of this? Because it was exactly the same 3 days later, exactly 18 years later. So it was quite, yeah.
It was a significant point in the moment, and if it's all happening at the same time, then it's just that awareness bringing all that together and to shift it, because there's no need for it anymore, and the choice of playgrounds change, so it doesn't need to reflect it back to you anymore. So again, because you've made some huge transitional changes in your life, everything around you reflects that. So that all comes to peace. You've got to come to peace with it, and all that plays out. So it makes, and like again in my world, that kind of makes a lot of sense.
It was all about moving forward as well, because my sister then moved into a house the same week that Kyle moved into his new shared accommodation. So they moved in exactly the same time, that same weekend. Very bizarre. So it's all like it was like moving on to me. That's what I.
And that's the most important. Whatever you get is right for you, and the whole thing is moving on is a good thing. You know, at the end of the day, it's not holding or begrudging or judging, or it's just accepting everything for what it is, because it is what it is, and the only thing it can be any different is what the energy that we play and give it, and then it becomes that. So I think, I think that was really cool. I think I was just kind of visiting on. I had a chat call a while back, and that client said to me that their energy, their experience, they were describing me stuff at her as a child, and she was describing how she felt about parents and stuff, and I was sitting there listening to that, and from her perception of what she saw of parents, but what they were actually going through and stuff. Then I took it to her and her children, because what I was trying to say is the energy exists around us, but we don't have to say or speak it or be, and it can become us without us even knowing. And this is what your story reflected to me. So when this particular person was through the experience, and the energy that the family she was in was playing itself out, not knowingly and not aware, whether that be fear or whether that be whatever, because it's not seen, whatever this unseen energy is. So then now with children, and she can live in this environment, whether she's fear or whatever it is, not that she, or even her thinking, like there was parts where she could reflect on her children saying something, and she's going, that's exactly how I feel. That's exactly the something that goes on with me. But how do they know? How have they become that? Because I've never said anything. But it's got nothing to do with anything. It's in the energetic playing field. So whatever's happening in your energetic playing field, and this is what I'm getting with you, Tanya, is what was going on in your sister's playing field without even understanding, has come through your children's playing fields. And it's come through. But what's happened with awareness is that you can actually now have a conscious choice of change, and it doesn't have to become your playground anymore. And that's why I think the significance of your reflection and what you're seeing in the family at the moment, which is fairly huge, is the word that you used, which I've written down, is feeling the togetherness. Because you're finally together. You've got your shit together, and understanding who you are and accepting it for what it is, and it is what it is. I'm here to have fun, I'm here to live, I'm here to do whatever, and all of a sudden that energy is filtered out into the field, and now everybody's getting to experience it, because it's not the energy field that you had before was and of course that was rippling out, and it's got nothing against you or whatever, but even your energy that you've gained from this experience was already probably carried from the previous upbringing, childhood, whatever you want to do, and understand. So our parents, our family, have only delivered from what they know in that particular moment, at that particular time, the best that they can deliver with the understanding of the life experience. And as we are here now, and our children will probably say the same about us. But I think it's really important that we get a clarity that Nothing has to be said, spoken, or acted. It's already participating just in you being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that affects everything.
Mm. Amazing.
Oh, no, thank you for sharing that, because it made a good journey of a lot was in that. And we'll go back tomorrow and we'll look at it and going, oh my God, take note. Yeah, no. Because it's a general, it's not just your family. That's the whole thing. Families exist like this all the time. It's not in one family. And it's a bit like Goop, and we're talking about her story, and I got off last week's call and said, oh my God, girl, you got to do this, blah, blah, blah. And then I go, no, you don't have to do anything, but I'm so excited for you, because she has so much to offer and from her life experiences, because there's so many people that have experienced things that she's experienced that I haven't experienced. Yet they're all the same as her and I both know. But the significance of the storytelling and the playground that everyone's choosing to play in, whether victim, whether whatever, and understandably so, it's with what they know and what they choose, because we all have choice. But the gift of what she's got to offer is a different perspective, and what you've got to offer now is a different perspective. So therefore it changes the whole ball game. Just as we could look at Goop's story as being quite a dramatic storytelling, traumatic experience, as you could talk about some of the stuff in yours. It's all the same stuff.
Because when I was listening to what happened to Gabrielle as a child, part of me I was like, well, how could she create this? Because no girl deserves that. And that I kind of got that.
Sorry, yeah, I know, yeah.
Does not deserve that. How could anyone create that from some fuckwit? You know, that fucked me up a little bit. Didn't make me angry. I just went, how can she's a young girl? I don't understand how, and to come out of that, well, I guess we do. You came out of it a better person and a positive person out of this. It was just that initial, wow.
Yeah,
and then I started hearing the word from other people, and I dreamt about it, and I'm like, why am I dreaming about this? Why have I heard that word from somebody else? And so it was a bit, I found that, how could anyone create that?
Yeah, and fair enough, because that's what we also spoke about, is the reactive space that everyone will see it from where they're at, and we knew that's going to play, because at the end of the day, no one wants to take responsibility to think the time they are born into this experience they are creating.
Yeah. I'm now, and I'd like to hear from what Gabrielle has to say, because I was like, hey, I was like, that was my initial first.
Yeah.
But then I went, okay, just like, yeah. And then when you put the story behind it and the history behind it and what's happened, okay, and that's when I sat back and listened, and
Oh, absolutely. And fairness to say, Tanya, it's only a what if.
Yeah.
And everybody can have their own perspective. There is no right or wrong. The thing is, you know how good it feels to come to peace with something? If that's what gives you peace, then maybe it's worth looking at.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I reckon you probably have some good questions for Gabrielle, and I think that's a good time to do it now.
Oh wow! I wasn't expecting to ask questions. I mean,
or just have just see what happens.
I'd like to just how Gabrielle, have you processed that, and then how you got over that and become, what did that deter you from in life, and then what then helped you then push forward with what you had been through.
What was the first question? I didn't. What?
I don't think I really want to ask the question.
Okay. Well, in regards to what Ali just said about having peace, I actually feel like I've got, part of me is like, just the whole story sounds outrageous on some level, but I actually have. It's like I did this and then I created this, and I'm like, fuck it, and then I like, how interesting. But I actually gained a lot of peace from it, and it didn't completely surprise me, because I really believe that we create our own reality moment to moment. And so I've been curious about these experiences I've had and how I came to have them. Particularly, and that's been something I've always wondered about, because, you know, I look at my siblings and we had a very similar upbringing, and as far as I know, none of them have chosen similar experiences to myself. And I've always been really curious about this. Oh, it's interesting that I've had these experiences. And since meeting Ali and really reflecting on, okay, how is it that I've created them? It didn't surprise me what came up the other night, because I'd been curious about this thing that came back into my awareness about being in grade 5 and what happened there. And it was amazing for me to then have that understanding. And it's the other night, and it's like it made sense to me, even though on some level I was always thinking, wow, like that's how powerful we are. That's how powerful we are. That's how powerful we are. And for me, it's actually been really empowering. And I've had a really interesting week since then. And I have really been seeing even experiences more recently, how I've created them. And I was like, oh, I wonder if, because I became at peace with those big experiences, whether it actually is helping me come to peace with these things that I'm kind of seeing reflected in my day-to-day now. So anyway, which may or may not be the case. But yeah, I feel like I've really found peace with those experiences. Yeah. So, as Ali says, it's a perspective, but it's certainly one that has resonated for me. So that's all I can really. Yeah, I'm happy for you to ask me questions, but that's all I.
No, but that's beautiful. And I think.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, I said that's beautiful that you've come to peace with all that. So yeah, no, keep going. Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else I needed to say.
I've got something though. So out of curiosity creates an opportunity to formulate an outcome and understanding.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think that's what you.
Yes.
So from the moment you become curious, life gives you the opportunity to discover.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And so therefore, what a simple thing, just to be curious and then see what arises.
Arrives. Oh, that's cool. That's cool in itself. Yeah, where you can take that and play with it. Again, I think, and the severity of if we're going to look at life in a positive or negative point of view, there's so many outcomes that we are very filtered by how aware we are with the life experience. And depending on how much you've come to peace with turning up and living and dying, or which I think there was a beautiful sharing today I found on, I think it was, I'm not sure, but it came about, and they asked about what is spirituality, and there was an answer, and I can't even remember the answer, and I was thinking, don't even want to diagnose what spirituality is, but he actually did it, and what it came down to in the summary was about being in awe of the existence and being present, and that's what, and I think curiosity is a playground without, but it's also a formulation, as is everything. But when you're coming from this seat, it's almost you've arisen to your curiosity through the experience and have attracted me into your experience to understand that curiosity from this perspective. Doesn't make it right or not wrong. It's giving you a playground that you've formulated from a very young age of curiosity, and I've just turned up at this particular moment. Tomorrow you might come into, Buddhist.
Oh my God, yeah. I love that. And it's funny you say that, Ellen, because I feel like I have been really curious. It's like, what the the fuck is this place?
Who fucking knows?
Yeah. But I think that thing that we that thing that I posted today, I don't know if you saw it, Gabrielle. It was I'm just going to pull it up because it's really relevant to the conversation we're having about we're all here wondering.
Yeah.
And we're all here, I mean, and playing it as we're playing it. There's no right way or wrong way. And we're experiencing it and we're reacting to it, which is even more funnier. Where are you? I want to find the man because I know I put it on my page. There he is. Was
that the Deepak one?
Is it? Yeah. And it talks about 65% of your genes are the same. Yeah, Deepak Chopra.
Yeah.
Are the same as a banana. I'll play it for you, Tanya. See if you can give it.
65% of your genes are the same as a banana.
Oh.
About 70% of your genes are the same as a fruit fly. 80% of your genes are the same as...
I can play it and share it, Ali, on the screen if you want.
Almost 99%
Oh, can you?
of the genes.
That would be better. Can you? Okay. Hang on. That'll be even better. God, your techno wisdom. No wonder you're going to have to upgrade my technology. Yep.
Yeah.
Have you got it? I think it'll be a good one to share. Yeah, I think it'll be a good one to share along with what we've spoken about.
And you know what? While I'm just bringing it up on Facebook, I was just thinking, funnily enough, the event that really kind of woke me up was when I was 25.
Yeah.
And look, sorry, no, I think I need to focus on the technical too.
I was like, let's go where she's 25. What's going on there?
It's technical.
I'm just trying to open up Facebook. Sorry, that's why I stopped. It might be too much.
Don't panic. We can edit it as a link. Or edit as a link. But literally, it just got to being present affects everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sorry.
And I was feeling fear energy.
Okay.
So Gabrielle was talking about how she was come to peace, and all of a sudden I started feeling fear.
Oh, so what's that?
I have no idea what that was because I don't even know where it come from because I felt like I could have been at peace with that as well, but for some reason I wasn't. But then I quickly just said, okay, move on, it's fine. But it was there for a little bit. I was explaining.
Is there? But in saying that, it is nothing till we make it something. Is the fear got something to do with the whole experience that she's been through?
Yes, I think so. Because it did a little bit trigger me the other night. I kind of like.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. No, yeah.
That, and I felt annoyed, and I don't know. I just and then talking about it just before made me feel fearful, and I was like. Yeah,
so there's some essence, which is what we knew would happen with Gabrielle's chat. Her and I always knew this was going to happen. Is it's going to trigger things in people to bring up stuff, and it has definitely done it with you in an aspect of even with the awareness that you have and the choices and stuff. It's irrelevant. The thing is, it affected you, and personally, if you owned that, how it affected you, and it would have been I think it comes down to keeping really simply. When you're not fully at peace with life will show you every reason why not to be at peace.
It didn't last very long.
No, that's the transition you're in. That's where you've come from to where you are today. The thing is, you can choose to stay there or not, and you know that's a choice. The reality is owning it and not denying it too. Like, yes, it is there, and yes, I have got. It is. It's a bit like when I said to you, right at the beginning of this, we started off with my, this is how I felt on holiday, and I felt this, and do I understand it all? No, I don't. It really is irrelevant. It's acknowledging it for what it is. It's come to play, it show itself, but it doesn't have to dominate your playground. I think if none of mine probably was a fear base, or compared if I was to subset it into the two sides of that emotional scale, none of mine was actually out of fear or whatever. It's probably lack of self-respect of what I would like to be doing and what I'm not. But then I come to, it's not even I played in the emotion of being pissed off, and playing that. It's so funny because I can play that without the emotional attachment in my tummy. So to understand that, if I can describe it to you, is that years ago it would be emotional, like you say, you could feel it, I can play that now, and it's kind of like, yeah, I know that, and the boys are going, oh, you're reacting like this, blah blah blah, and I said, yeah, I'm stating it, that's how I'm feeling. I'm not really totally feeling this. You know what I mean? It's even, which I'm still on the thing, is that good or bad? I've got no fucking idea. That's just how it plays. So we get exciting news, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And whereas someone else could be, and so I'm borderline. And look, let's face it, it could be. You can say that could be right or wrong. That could be hormones. That could be fucking anything. It is what it is.
Yeah. So I like your perspective on things. So we'll go with that. We'll go with
yeah. I think the fear trigger in you is still just there'll be the dribs and drabs. And if you broke it down, that's just the reality. And you're aware of fear being like a 10, and now it's probably a 1. Do you know what I mean? But
it's easy to get away from where it wasn't. I would sometimes could be in fear for years, for hours, or I could be in a feeling for so long, and I couldn't let it go. Now it's like, and I do have a choice, so it's very quickly picking it. I was going to ask you, Gabriel, this is getting off the subject altogether, what's young Paddy taught you this week? Because I do like hearing the little stories that when Paddy shows up, and what I do love hearing that, and because so what's he brought up for you this week?
You know what, he hasn't been my main trigger this week. The only thing I've really observed with him is I really let him decide on things. Like I'll say to him, okay, so I'm thinking, how about you hop in the car and we'll go, I've got a girlfriend who's in palliative care at the moment, and I'll say, and how about we'll go and visit Mina in hospital? And he's actually really good at saying, like, showing me yes and showing me no. And I'm really enjoying that play. So allowing him to decide on things. So like today I said, after playgroup, I said, oh, how about we go hop in the car and Mummy will get a coffee and then we'll go to a park. And so he was like, and he hopped in the car and I went and got a coffee and we went to a park.
Everyone's happy.
I'm really enjoying that. So he hasn't triggered me this week.
So have you had triggers this week?
I certainly have. It just hasn't been you.
Who's triggered them? What's triggered them?
It's so funny. As I was alluding to before, after my session last week, I then during the week I started to really see how people were creating their realities with the stuff they were telling me, and had some really clear insights about. So, for example, about 3 months ago, Paddy was curious about this daycare near Conscious Cravings, and for the first time he was curious, and I said, okay, I'll show it to you. We walked in and I had a judgment about daycare, which then played out when we were there, and funnily enough, it was only on Saturday that I acknowledged it. A, that I had a judgment about daycare, and B, I really acknowledged how it played out that day. And funnily enough, since I acknowledged it, I've had 2 people say to me what a great daycare place it is. Because I'm looking at putting him in daycare, and I'm curious about which one he's going to choose. And I had kind of cancelled that one off the list because I had it was right in my journey, and I had a judgment about it, so it played it out to me.
Yeah.
So and then I saw it again around. Hey, I'm having him immunised, which he's not immunised yet. But anyway, and there's a particular doctor I had a place I had a judgment about, which when I went there, it played it out for me. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I'll get him immunised there. And then I realised, of course it played it out because you were sitting in that judgment. So that was like awesome. I was like, oh, fuck. That's like moment to moment. If I'm carrying a judgment, the world's going to reflect that to me. So I was like,
but it reflected back to you positive though, did it? Because
no. So I had a judgment about something, and about the childcare centre, or about a particular doctor's place, and it was because in both instances I had a judgment about childcare, and that wasn't the right thing, and I was still working through this thing around immunisation, and that was okay. So because I had judgments about them both, I walked into the space looking. It's almost like I was looking for something to back up my judgment, and it's what I saw. So in the daycare, the woman was grumpy. I'm like, oh, she was grumpy. Yeah, daycare's not, Yeah. Anyway, so does that make sense, Tanya? It was because I had the judgment, it played it out. So and I really saw that, and I saw it because I was having a conversation with someone else, and they were telling me something, and I could see it in their what they were saying, and then what their experience was, and I was like, shit. And then it just went for me with my own experiences. And I thought, oh wow, I'm really seeing stuff clearly. And then on Sunday, similar to Ali was saying, I just got triggered, and I was just sitting in just a foul mood for most of Sunday, and it was Fergal that was copying my foul mood. And I was very clear about it. I'm like, oh, babe, I'm just in something. And he was being beautiful and really trying to move towards me, and I was just not giving him much. So, I know. and it's actually funny, everything you said at the beginning, Ali, because I was like, I was really trying to work out what that was about, and I was like, oh, maybe I don't see things as clearly as I think I do. And then it's like, oh, no, it's completely gone, and maybe it doesn't matter.
Just chill the fuck out if it needs to come back at work.
Yeah. But sorry, did you want to say something?
No, keep going.
I just had one other thing I was going to share that was really interesting, because I just noticed, I don't know why for the first time really, but I said to Fred, well, where's that wine you had last night? And he goes, oh, I finished the bottle. And I said, oh. I said, mate, I was like, how much do you drink at night? And he went on to tell me, and I was like, I noticed immediately I had a judgment about it. And I was actually, I was really trying to shift the judgment, but it was kind of sitting with me. And because to me it seemed like, that's quite a bit of alcohol you're drinking, babe. And then on Sunday, he had Paddy was outside, and we don't have a pool fence, and I don't have a problem with that, but it was triggering Fergal. And he turns to me because I was being relaxed about it, and he goes to me, oh, you're just killing me. And I was like, ooh. I was like, is he just reflecting back my judgment to me? Anyway, it was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. And then it was after that interaction that I then went into something, and I was in a mood for the rest of the day. But yeah,
we do. I always do.
But it was pretty. When he said that, I was like, that's amazing, because Yeah,
I know. Yeah, Murray did that to me on the weekend as well. Said it's something I was thinking. I was like, oh yeah, babe. Yeah. But I think that's the clarity that comes because there's not much clutter, and once you get to that space, the freedom for it to flow and the reflect is so much clearer and faster. It's just, yeah. Hey, there was a real interesting one you had on the daycare judgment immunisation space, because they're all aspects of you.
Yeah.
You know how we justify the judgment to be she was grumpy and blah, 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 and I could, so there's something that I judged her, so that played out. The immunisation, but it was almost like there was just that further, it still had that fragment away further. Do you know what I mean? Like it wasn't kind of core inside. You know how we were talking the other week, how we can just put it here, not into here? And it's almost like, so that self-judgment and that self-worth and that and fitting in that the immunisation stuff and fitting into life, which are all the transitional spaces that you've been moving through. So that would be the more depth of yourself playing out through the field. She's going, I don't know. But okay, so what I'm just saying is when we read it tomorrow, we read it tomorrow and we see the story at the play centre, the immunisation, the doctor and stuff, it was almost like you got to the judgment and the judgment you had on them, but the judgment's actually on yourself.
Correct. So were you just showing to me that I hadn't bought it in?
I was just showing you the perspective of how far you brought it. So literally like the fishing rod, you'd brought it to so far, but the catch hadn't been delivered.
Yes. You know, it's funny, Ali, I knew it was about me. I knew it was about me. But I hadn't quite.
Oh, look, I think...
No, it's good. That was good.
You know, I think it's irrelevant because I think you'll know. And I do it myself. Like I said, I can justify the story. And we can get to a certain point, and at the end of the day, if it's big enough, it'll come back. But I just for those I just think for those that are watching or understanding is getting to the point of the depth of it, because I can just cut it off and know that you'll get there anyway. But the reality is, someone watching it will get to this point as I'm having a judgment because I see it this way. But the reality is, it's not actually the person or the immunisation or the doctor; it's actually you.
Yes.
And so I just
Yes. Thank you, because that actually feels different. It feels different.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's sorted. It's sorted. It's just like that. Yeah. Sorry,
so
Tanya.
Does that mean that I didn't have a judgment about the daycare as such? It was actually more judgment of myself that played out through that woman. But rather than owning it, I made it about the daycare.
Yes. Yeah. Very much so. Very much so.
I'll just wheel that back in then.
I like the symbology of the fish. I'm going to listen to that tomorrow.
Yeah, I will listen to that. Yeah.
You know, actually, my favourite ones is the guns.
When you're shooting him. Yeah. Sorry, we cut you off, Tanya. What did you have something to say?
No. So every time we judge, that is truly about ourselves. 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Everything's about yourself, 100%. Nothing about anybody else.
So that's fully owning it.
That's fully owning it. And we can slip into our Sunday sessions and pick a shit. Yes, that's okay. We don't fully own it then. But the reality is, if we were to truly fully own it. Okay.
Yeah.
It was funny. That's like I really couldn't land on what. Like I kept going, oh, this is. It was anger more than anything, and I was like, oh, maybe it's just my old anger thing playing out.
Well, the essence of anger would have played out in that form if that's what you wanted to attach it to. Which the reality of your last series story was how much anger dominated your whole being. So that would be another filtered aspect on a real minor take, other than getting cancer or being raped.
I prefer a shitty Sunday afternoon any day.
Yeah. Yes. That's what our husbands are for. Come on. No, I love my husband.
Oh my God.
Yeah, same.
We all do. Yeah, sorry, Tanya. So, yep.
No, it's funny because I was out with some of my girlfriends. Like, I don't always make plans because I don't always believe plans don't always turn out. So you just whatever. So I caught up with some girlfriends this week that I hadn't seen for a while, and we all just the language that was coming from our mouth was just it was horrible, but it was so funny. It was like full bogan, like we'd had but other words were coming out, but we were wetting our pants laughing, and it was I laughed so hard, like it was almost like we were all just crazy. I can't even explain it, and I'd only had a few drinks, so I was driving. We were fucking nuts, and everyone was like, "It's your car. There's something going on in your car." But then the next morning, I woke up and I felt really guilty. I had this guilt come over me for saying such foul language, but it felt so good at the get it all out, and then the next day I was like, that is just pure filth. How dare I speak like that? But then I giggled about it and I do these little videos, but I don't post. I will never post. Like, I did one when I was that sick that time, like, I'm fucking doing fucking jack shit. Quite a lot. And I laugh at myself and I think the language you're using, Tanya, that's just bad. But we all laughed so hard from it all. It was the best laughter. It was like we had all this, we'd all been keeping our stuff, just
the unfiltered shit flew out.
But it was so funny. And then there was one stage where one girl's mouth, which I didn't really know her well, but she made me laugh so much. Every second word was just a swear word, like full, I lost it. I couldn't stop laughing, and I think I've never heard such foul language, but it feels so good. But then we all joined in and did the same thing. It was freaking fantastic. But yeah, and so I'll skip from that. So that was one thing. But then I've learned to sit down with people now, and sometimes I would judge a little bit. Now I just go, oh yeah, okay, and I don't feel as much anymore, because I would sit down and go, oh my God, this person's feeling this. Oh my God, I can sense this person's feeling this. But I'm like, is it mine or is it there? Now I'm like, I don't fucking care. Who cares? Like, if it's mine or not, if it is, that's great. But it's not about feeling it as much as I used to. It's just like, okay, so now I can sit. And if sometimes I don't have a lot to say, because I think sometimes I can be boring. I don't feel like talking. But then other times I'm like, yeah, and I'm not putting a judgment on anymore. It's more, and I see what I love about them instead. That's what I'm seeing in the people I'm talking to. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, all right. Whereas usually I'd be like, oh, fucking hell, shut up, or something like that, or just, but yeah. So they're the little things that I've stopped doing, and I'm aware of it now. It's like it's just accepting more. Yeah. That is more maybe. Yeah. Well, I guess it is accepting myself more, but I can sit fully more present now and just enjoy what I'm hearing, instead of going, oh, maybe I don't understand that, or sometimes be uncomfortable. I don't care what I look like. I don't care if this is happening. I don't care anymore. I can walk out with makeup and it feels fantastic.
Yeah. And I don't think it's really, we were just saying, I don't think it's really I don't care, because at the end of the day,
I mean,
it is what it is. Whether we dress up or whether we don't, we were talking about this the other day, Gabrielle. At the end of the day, it's not the whole. It's just you being okay with everything, and again, it's removing the way that you think life needs to be lived, and it can be lived as it is. And I think that's the whole thing that you're experiencing with the foul language and the play and the stuff. And then the next morning you wake up and you've got a hangover from, oh my God, that's not how people should be, and blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, who the hell's that voice? That's the old Tanya talking. And then it just shifted. It just shifted into appreciation of having fun and have no judgment.
Yeah, and that's what it is, because I used to do that when I was younger, and then I became that little bit, watch your P's and Q's.
Yeah.
It's not swear or fart or make silly, stupid. Now I'm just like letting it all out, but it's fun. It's fun. It's like I feel so relieved. Like my husband's like, what's going on with you? You're talking. You just, you're being where have you gone? Oh, there you go. Yeah, but he's happier because he thinks it's funny, but it's not right. But then it is, because it feels...
He's happier because you're happier, and he plays it back to you.
Yeah.
Bing!
Going to bed.
Yeah. No, that's cool. We're all just about finished anyway, and we'll call it a night. I think on summary, it's just a reflection of what we've all talked about is there's sometimes no need to know. Thanks for the great share tonight, Tanya, on the whole family perspective, because I think that's a whole thing that we needed to realise about the energy stuff. And again, just dabbling into I think what we reflect each week, Gabrielle, has been is, as much as you're aware, you can still play it from any game pointers, as much as you want to own. Do you know? But the reality is, as long as we're not blaming anybody, I think we're doing okay.
And just own our shit.
Yeah. Ding. Okay, we'll call it a night. I'll catch up with you guys whenever, and thanks for popping by, Tanya, and cheering.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks.
And next time we'll have to do wine. Okay,
do what?
So I'll get the wine.
Okay, it sounds good. That might be my leaving party. Yeah, Tuesday. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Goat.
See you guys.
See you later. Bye. Leave.